Hello, family, and welcome back to the BreEvolve Podcast. My name is Bree, and I'm your host. If you're new, welcome. And if you've been rocking with us, thank you so much for coming to spend time with me. I truly appreciate it. Here we dive into the journeys, insights, strategies to help us to become our best selves together because we're in this together, guys. Today, I'm thrilled because this guest has left a lasting impact on me personally with her journey, her insights, and her expertise. I had the pleasure of hearing her speak at SpeakerCon 2024, which was amazing, where she shared so much wisdom on the power of financial mastery and the keys to creating lasting wealth. Octavia Conner is a powerhouse in financial strategy as a fractional CFO and tax strategist, dedicated to helping service-based entrepreneurs master their finances and make profitability a reality. Through her firm, Say Yes to Profits, Octavia partners with businesses earning $1 million to $20 million, empowering them with the financial clarity, insight, and strategy they need to grow confidently and sustainably. Today, she shares her knowledge with us so we can learn how to make smarter, more profitable decisions so we can ultimately say yes to financial empowerment. Get ready for a conversation that just might make you look at your business and personal finances differently and life differently. Okay? Let's get into this conversation. I hope you enjoy. Octavia, thank you so much for being with me today. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. I really enjoyed your segment at SpeakerCon 2024, which was amazing.
Yes.
I'm so glad you agreed to come on the show. So we didn't have to rush the interview while we were there.
Yes.
Yes.
I love the atmosphere. I love the energy. I love the experience. Like it was absolutely amazing. I was so honored to be on the stage as well.
Yes. And you've also received an award.
Yes.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
I received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And so that was a surprise in such an excellent way. So I'm so honored to receive that as well. I remember trying to qualify for it about 2 years ago, and I didn't. And so that was actually pretty wonderful.
Wow, I didn't know it was a surprise. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. So I want to start off with a little icebreaker, completely unrelated.
Okay.
What's a talent or hobby you have that most people would be surprised to learn about?
um, well, growing up, I was a cheerleader.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, from the time that's when I started laughing, from the time that I was 5 up into college. And so every now and then I get up and do some little moves and dances and stuff. And so I guess that would be a hidden talent.
Yeah,
To be able to still do some of the things that I used to do at my age now. So yes.
I love that. I was a cheerleader too. I
Yeah.
haven't done any moves recently, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah. See, I have girls and they try to test me sometimes, and I have to kind of let them know this is where you
Uh-huh.
got it from.
Okay. Okay, so let's get into saying yes to profits.
Okay.
You emphasize that revenue milestones don't necessarily mean financial freedom.
Hmm.
Can you explain what's often missing and how this gap can impact an entrepreneur's growth?
Wow, such a great question. So, I actually literally just did a podcast about this yesterday. So many entrepreneurs will see their revenue goals being achieved, which is great. And they'll feel like, oh, I made it, or oh, I'm rich now, or whatever the case may be, because they are multi 7, 8 figure, or even multi 6 figure business. And that's a good milestone. But oftentimes, as the revenue increases, so does the expenses and other outflows related to cash. And so you can be a multi 7, 8 figure, 6 figure business, but you have cash flow problems. And so I always say, don't just focus on your revenue. You need to focus on maintaining at a minimum a 6 month cash reserve at all times. And you also need to focus on being profitable. And then once all three of those have reached the milestone that is connected to your business and getting you closer and closer to your ultimate goals, then you can celebrate. So now you're not just top line revenue, you have more cash flow or enough cash flow, and you're profitable at the same time.
I love that. I've never heard that before, SpeakerCon. I always think like if you've reached that milestone, you're good. But no,
Mhm.
you got to keep it and then not thinking about the other things. So thank you for that. Many high earning entrepreneurs lack financial insight and foresight. What are some foundational practices you recommend that can make a difference right away?
Well, very first, I would say would be having an accurate, reliable, and timely accounting system. One that is updated at least weekly. That would be the first thing. The second thing I would recommend is forecasting. And so when you're forecasting, you are projecting the future, right? You're forecasting what the future may be. And that positions you from being a reactive entrepreneur where you're reacting to everything that has happened to forecasting the good, the better, the best, and the worst case scenario. And now you're a proactive entrepreneur because you're able to see in advance and you're able to spot money leaks, ways you're leaving money on the table, periods and months where money is going to be few and far between. And now when you're looking at this in advance, you can do things today to prevent that from happening. So those would be my top two: an accounting system that's updated weekly and a forecast that is updated at a very minimum monthly. But if you're experiencing cash flow problems, then I would recommend having it done weekly.
I feel like this can be applied to everywhere, not just entrepreneurship. It's like you cracked the code for life and just broke it down so easily for us. You mentioned some common challenges like misaligned pricing or business models. What's the first step a business owner can take to identify whether their pricing is aligned with their growth goals?
Oh, that's good. So, one thing that I always say as it relates to pricing is that entrepreneurs often make the mistake of looking at their competitors and pricing their services based on them. And oftentimes that doesn't align with their business and their goals. That aligns with someone else or what the market may state. And so when you're pricing your services and products, first, identify all of the costs associated with providing that service or product, right? Then once you get clear on all of the costs at a very minimum, your price should cover your costs. But you do not want to stop there because let's say your cost for a particular service is $300 and then you price it at $300. Well, you're not going to be profitable. You're just going to break even. And so once you've identified your costs, then you add what I like to call a profit margin percentage onto your costs. And so now you are profitable with every sale that you make in your business, whether it's a service based or product based business, because that profit margin is going to cover the profitability. And then you've already included your costs into the cost. Let me say this, the direct cost, you've included that inside of your price.
I was thinking as you were talking, is there a difference between a product-based business and a service-based? You kind of touched on it. It can work for both, but do you see any, I guess, any differences in how they're run and how their profits, maybe some of the common mistakes between
Yes.
service and product? Yeah.
Well, a product-based business may have a product that is on a lower tier, and so that means they have to sell more of them to reach their goals, right? A service-based business can have a product on a higher tier in pricing, and they only need one or two or five or whatever the amount is each month. Um, I wouldn't say one is easier than the other one. I would say you have to figure out which one is better for you. Now, I primarily work with a lot of service based businesses. So, consultants and private practice owners and dentists and coaches, right? And so with them, I normally will say we need to identify your monthly revenue goal and then how many of that product or that service you need to sell in order to reach your revenue goal. And so it's the same, but it's kind of different as well when you think about the effort you have to put into selling whatever it is you have to sell.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
Okay.
answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
Okay.
You gave us some great tips and takeaways at SpeakerCon, which I encourage y'all to go to her website. I'll make sure we get that at the end as well. But for those who may feel a little overwhelmed by numbers, what's one or two practical ways that they can start feeling more empowered and confident about their finances?
I would say the first way is to get comfortable with seeing your numbers. Whether they're not where you want them to be, you have to get comfortable with facing it. And so, with that, you want to log into your bank account every single morning before you start working for the day. Log into your bank account and see what your bank balance is. Whether you like what it is or not, you're paying attention to it, right? And so you get into the habit of doing that every single day. The next thing I would say is get into the habit of making money every day. And so every single day, some way, there should be some type of money coming into your business, whether that is a product that you sell or service that you offer. Every day you want to get into the habit of looking at your money and then making money every day.
That's good. You just spoke directly to me. I'm not even going to say which one, but I feel like there's a lot of shame and embarrassment that comes along with money if you're not where you need to be. So saying, face it, stop
Mhm.
running away from it. I know you probably broke a lot of chains off a lot of people.
Yeah. And I would add something else too, because that is so true. There is a lot of shame and embarrassment sometimes around money. I faced it myself in my entrepreneur career. And one, again, yes, face it, right? Focus on earning money every day, but also speak over yourself. Because sometimes when you start to look at it every day, you're like, oh my goodness, I don't like what I see. And so I looked at it on Monday, but I know it's not going to be any different Tuesday. So I'm not going to look at it again until Thursday, right? One, you don't want to do that. But two, start speaking over yourself. You can say certain things like, I am a money magnet, right? Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, frequently, and in abundance. And then take time. I love to do this when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, but I literally think about my goals as if they've already happened right when I'm dozing off to sleep. And that has helped over the years when I was struggling in different areas of my career, as an entrepreneur, in my personal life. I just visualize that. And then every day I speak over myself. Even if I log into my bank account and I'm like, this is lower than I need or want it to be. I see this, right? I'm a fiscally responsible entrepreneur. So I see it. But now I'm going to declare that there's going to be $1 million in that bank account, right? And then I'm going to visualize that $1 million balance in that bank account. And so I see what it is, but I'm decreeing and declaring what I wanted and needed to be. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to work, right? And I'm going to continue to work so I can get closer and closer to that number. So that's my tangent.
Yes, I love that. So how did you get here? I feel like we need to touch on this because there's a little gap between being stuck in the embarrassment and shame and getting to the other side, like, okay, you need to get on up now. Come on. Like, how did you get your mindset shift there?
Well, I have to go back to my purpose. My purpose is so much bigger than me. My purpose keeps me going, and I mentioned this at SpeakerCon on the stage because it's so true, right? I always try to teach from my experiences, and so my purpose will keep me going when I receive a no. My purpose will keep me going when today is hard. My purpose will keep me going when my bank balance is lower than what it needs to be. And I always go back to that. And for me, I have two different things that are the reasons why I do what I do, my purpose. So, one, my kids, I really want them to have a life I didn't have. And if they see, in my mind, if they see their mother and she has this goal, because I don't hide my goals from them so that they can see it. And they're seeing me work towards it and achieving things. I've seen my kids transform their mindset just based off of the things that I've done. And for me that means so much. It means so much. And so if I quit or I stop, what's that's going to show them, you know? Um and in order to get there, I had to fix my mindset. I had to Stop thinking negative. Stop feeling like, oh, it'll happen to everybody else, but it will not happen to me. No, that's not the case. It absolutely can happen to and for me. And I just had to keep talking to myself and saying that. And I look in the mirror and yeah, and I, like, show me who I am, who I'm supposed to be. Help me to operate fully in that purpose, that gift. So that's a part of it. I really want them to see a representation of what they can be. Like, they can exceed me. So if I can do this coming from where I came from, you all can, I don't know. You all can be amazing. And then I think my second reason is there are a lot of people that are failing as an entrepreneur, even though the glitz and glamour of social media. As an accountant, I can tell you firsthand, it's not always true. I've seen that where someone on social media seem as if they're wealthy and or rich, and then they hire someone like me, and I see behind the scenes that it's not quite where it seems to be. And so I want to stop entrepreneur failure, especially for people who look like me. Um, and I know that what I've been through, and that's why I'm not afraid to share my story, because I know that what I've been through, other people are either going through it or they've been through it as well. And so let me show you how you can get on the other side of that.
Yes. If you don't mind sharing your entrepreneur story
Yes,
with
I
us?
don't mind at all.
Okay.
So I first started in corporate America, and I climbed the corporate ladder. I was a data entry clerk, bookkeeper, accounting manager. Then I became a CFO for a pharmaceutical company. And my sister at the same time was building her a daycare center. She was expanding. And she went from being in her home to actually having a brick and mortar. And she was like, okay, I need help with this bookkeeping for the daycare center. And so I started working with her part time. And I still had my corporate job. But around that time, I was feeling like I don't want to be here anymore. Like, this is not for me anymore. I'm for me sick of the politics that comes with corporate environments. And I was like, I'm not happy. I would walk in the door and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and I am literally looking at my watch or my phone, wishing it was 5 p.m. I just didn't want to be there. So I started helping her and I started to go to events as well, just kind of just testing the water. I would go to events, I would help her, her business would grow, her cash flow would grow. I started to go to events and I met people like the president of the Chamber of Commerce and they hired me. And it started to build from there. And I was like, okay, let me pray, let me seek guidance, see if this entrepreneur thing is for me. I felt like I got a yes. I jumped out there. I started my business full time. And within about 12 to 14 months, I fell flat on my face. I went from my corporate job to making close to six figures. I had just built a custom home from the ground up. Right before I left corporate, I had just bought my first truck, fully loaded, first ever brand new car. And again, about 12, 14 months later, I literally had a negative $152 in my bank account. We were 1 month away from foreclosure. And I always say this as a joking matter, but it wasn't a joke then. I literally could look out my window and see the repo man circling my house, trying to get my car. And I would hide my truck in the garage. And I cried. I cried. It was days I couldn't feed my kids. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she fed my entire family. Christmas time, I mean, if it wasn't for her, many things would happen. Um, and I ended up connecting with this organization that it was such a blessing, paid my mortgage for a year.
Wow.
Um, I, to this day, I was telling my team member yesterday, to this day, I can't remember the name of the organization. I can't find the paperwork of the organization. It was like they appeared out of the blue. Seriously. But at that same time, I went back to corporate America part time. But I still knew entrepreneurship was for me. And so I just started over. I started the business over and I was like, let me do things differently. Because the first time I just jumped out there. The second time I studied successful entrepreneurs. I studied money mindset. I studied how to build a business, how to build an accounting firm. And the second time around, I came out. About 14, 16 months later, after going back as a multi six figure business owner, the house never went into foreclosure. The truck never got repossessed. And I ended up being able to move my grandmother in my house with me. And I took care of her for about 7 years until she passed. So,
I love that story. I don't think you told that entire story,
no,
speaking of.
no, I always tell like little bits and pieces, just depending
Oh,
on how much time I have on
okay.
the stage. But yeah, I've
Okay.
never like deep dive into it. Like it was honestly so bad. I remember going to McDonald's and my kids had did well in school and I wanted to celebrate them. And we went to McDonald's and we're in the car and we're dancing, they're happy, you know, they're about to get their happy meals. And we order the food and we go around to the drive-through and I give the lady my card and she said, your card declined in front of the kids. I was so devastated. Oh, try not to cry now. I was so devastated because I was like, this can't be. I felt like a failure. And then
Mhm.
that happened in front of them. And I was like, this just can't be. And I started over. I was like, I have to start over. So I let my pride go and went back to corporate America. But I went back part-time. I always knew I could get a job as an accountant because of my years of experience and educational background. So I always knew that that would be something available, but I really wanted to take a chance on me. And so it was very heartbreaking that at that time I was failing. And I was like, I just have to start over and try again.
Wow. I feel like you spoke directly to me. Just the kids part and okay, you gonna get me emotional. From your
Yeah.
story, beginning story in entrepreneurship, I noticed a few things that really stuck out to me. The importance of community. You said your grandmother,
Yes.
community, not blocking ourselves off. I feel like once we get in that space, we kind of isolate ourselves to not show that we're going through something. But
Yes.
that community is so important. And I love that your grandmother was there. And then your experiences,
Yes.
like you putting yourself out there to experience things. And you said you felt like you got a yes.
Hmm.
I do still feel like that was a yes. You had to go through the failing business to
Yes.
even be able to get the mindset to explore how to make these things work together. And it's really just more than your business. I love that part. This I feel like it's so much related to me right now. And then you said that business that you couldn't remember, that page of mortgage. God is going to send you some angels. You just got to keep believing. Oh my
Listen,
goodness.
th- I don't even remember. I have looked through paperwork because I'm like, this organization could help so many people. I promise you, it's like they appeared.
Yeah.
The qualification was so easy. And
Mm,
then when it was done, they disappeared.
yeah. Wow.
Nothing, nothing, nothing but God. And then
Mm,
to your point, I understand the failure now. You know how they say
mhm.
hindsight is, I think, 2020. Um,
Yeah.
I understand it now. I didn't understand it then. I feel like what I understand from it now and what I teach, that's why I say yes, the profits mean so much to me because when I jumped out there before, I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan for my money. I wasn't looking at my finances every day. I wasn't doing any of that. And I just jumped out there. I didn't have that. The second time around, I had that plan, I had that strategy, you know, and I was flexible for it to happen the way it was going to happen. But I had that cash reserve set up. And so for clients, when I work with them, those are the things we immediately put in place. The cash reserve. Let me show you how to have a minimum of 6 months. Let me identify the plan that you need for your business. Then we'll do the bookkeeping and accounting, right? That's minimum. We'll handle that. But let me get your mindset where it needs to be. And so I work on all of those things first when someone hires me as their CFO because I know that that is what's going to get you to the next place. Not the bookkeeping and accounting and taxes. That's important and that's absolutely needed, but this is what's going to take you there. And that came from my experience.
Yeah. And I jumped out there a few times as well. I feel like I've had so many entrepreneurship endeavors, and I'm in the stage now of rebuilding with the strategy. It's like, okay,
See?
God gave me this vision, but we still got to eat. Like, come
See?
on, girl. You can't
Yep.
give, give, give. And then your family is left. So You were speaking directly to me, Octavia. I didn't know I was going to get all of that. I will need to reach out to you after this as well.
I'm here. I am
Yeah.
here.
And thank you for saying yes to what God put on your heart, because I know you're helping so many businesses. Your mission involves setting entrepreneurs up for generational wealth.
Mhm.
What does it take to create a roadmap toward that goal, and where should someone begin? I feel like you touched on this a little bit, but where should they begin?
Well, I think they should begin with getting their business and, well, honestly, I would say not only getting their business finances in order, but their personal finances as well when you think about wealth, right? They need to have both of those in order. They need to be clear on both of those. That's why our Say Yes to Profits pillars, we have 5 pillars. The first pillar is clarity, because I need them to be clear on where they stand financially in their personal life and in their business. A lot of times entrepreneurs will build this business, but oftentimes they're not receiving a salary from the company. They're sacrificing their personal credit and things like that, or their spouse is doing everything because they're trying to build a company. And so that's the first thing I need to happen, to get that clarity on both sides. Once you have that clarity, then you go through the other pillars, and then now you're at a profitable company. Now you can take some of that money and you can invest it in other things. Like you can hire your child and you can start a custodial IRA account for them. And so now you're building for retirement for your babies, and you're taking it as a tax deduction, where you can't comfortably do that until you have a significant amount of cash flow, right? You can invest in your own retirement from your business. Depending on the every year it changes a little bit, but like a SEP IRA, you can invest in that from your business. Well, when you're putting that money away, you still got to have enough coming in your personal life. You still need to have enough in your business to operate and put money away for generational wealth. So I think it centers around first having that clarity, building that profitable business. So now you're operating from a place of confidence, which is pillar number 5. And then you can now think of other things that you can invest in: real estate, stocks, bonds, IRAs. You can use compound interest accounts and things like that. So
Thank you. How can listeners set up financial routines or check ins that can help them stay on top of their progress toward profitability?
I think it goes back to the first thing, checking your money every day, business and personal. And then also making sure you're paying your bills on time. And if you have a credit card, I just had this conversation with my daughter because she's like, I want a credit card. So I had to really sit her down and explain it to her. But if you have a credit card, if you cannot pay that balance off at the end of the month, right, or whenever your statement is due, then that is a clear indication you really don't have that money to spend. So just making sure you're being fiscally responsible with everything that you do in your business and your personal life.
Thank you for that. What is one piece of advice you wish every entrepreneur knew about achieving sustainable financial health?
One piece of advice
Hmm.
would be plan for every dollar that you expect to earn and that you expect to go out of your business. If you don't tell your money what to do, it's going to tell you what to do. And you're not going to like it. You're going to do things based off of emotions and not off of data. You're going to do things based on a desperate need for that next dollar. But if you plan and you stay on top of your plan, right? And so this plan includes a budget. This plan includes a strategy on how you're going to earn money in every single way. I call your services and products your profit pipelines. So whatever services and products you have, how you're going to earn money, what you're going to price for them, who you need on your team. Like you create this solid plan, a plan that you can use every single day, and then you track your progress according to your plan. And you have your milestones according to your plan.
I love that. So don't just say, I'm going to do this and then leave the plan to day by day. I love that. So, is there anything that you have coming up? Anything that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yes. So, based on everything that we discussed, I have a free profit bundle. It's a plug and play template, and they could plug in their numbers and it'll spit out pricing and just different things that'll help their business, a projection, a forecast. We talked about that. And so, to download it, they can go to sayyes to profits.com BreEvolve. Say yes to profits.com/BreEvolve. They'll see your picture, my picture, our logos up there, and they just put their information in there and they download it. Once they download it, it comes to their email. After that, if they want to schedule a discovery session, it'll be there on that page as well. They can schedule a free discovery session with me as well.
I love that. Say yes to profits with Octavia. And Octavia, thank you for saying yes
Yes,
to
of
what
course.
God put in your heart. You're blessing so many people, including me. So I do appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. This was a blessing. This was amazing.
It absolutely was. Octavia, I hope you have a beautiful week and we will be saying yes to profits with the website that you provided. Thank you so much.
Thank you.